Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Ren, and today, as you can tell by the title, we have my Orilium TBR. So if you don't know, Orilium readathon is a readathon put on by G at Book Roast. I always want to say Bookish Roast. It's just Book Roast, and she has built this amazing in-depth world of magic where basically each of us, each reader, is a magic user that attends Orilium Academy, which is a magic school. And twice a year, the spring equinox and the autumn equinox, she has these really cool month-long readathons, and the autumn equinox is in August. So if you don't know about the readathon and want to catch up on it, I will put her announcement video for this current readathon in the description, as well as the explanation for how to get started if you haven't been doing her readathons overall. Let's get into my TBR, which I'm actually really excited about. So I am my character, I guess, is studying to become a Feywild cartographer. A Feywild cartographer needs an O in elemental studies, an O in animal studies, an O in astronomy, an O in alchemy, a Q in inscription, and an O in demonology. So basically each of these subjects or classes has different grades that you need to get. It's O, Q, or I think it's I. O is the lowest level, so you only need to read one book and you have one prompt for that. Q is the second highest level and you'll have two prompts, so you'll need to read two books. And the next level, which again I think is I, is 3 books and 3 separate prompts. So I have a pretty easy, comparatively, path of study than a lot of people, but I need to keep it realistic for myself as I read anywhere from 1 to like 5 books a month currently. This was gonna be a lot for me. So we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna do my best, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. So the first one is an O in elemental studies, and the prompt for that is a book with the word earth in the title. I am choosing to read Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck. This is a Nobel Prize winning book about the life and the changes that were happening in China in the 1920s. It is a historical fiction book. I literally just picked this up today, and honestly, it looks so good. It also won the Pulitzer Prize. So there's a whole bunch of really great things going for this, and I'm really excited to read a book, first of all, that was published before like 2000, because I haven't read a ton of books published before 2000 this year. And this author, Pearl, she spent most of her childhood in China, though she was born in Virginia. And yeah, I'm really excited because I know a little bit about Chinese history during this time, and oh boy, did things change. So I'm really excited to see this from the perspective of someone who lived there during that time and experienced these things and the stories that she has to tell. And it won a Pulitzer Prize, so it obviously is pretty good and has a lot of value. So I'm very excited about this one. And then the next prompt is an O in animal studies, and this is a pet pick. So we're gonna move down to the floor to let my dog Sierra pick out a book, which is going to be interesting. She's never done something like this before, so we'll see.
Okay, these are our options for pet pick. We have the first one, which is The Ranger's Apprentice: A New Beginning. This is the last book in the Ranger's Apprentice series and the first book in the Ranger's Apprentice sequel. I have read that one before, but I want to read the rest of the series because when that book first came out, it was part of the Ranger's Apprentice series, not this new, not the Royal Ranger series. So I want to reread that so that I can continue reading the other ones. We have Death in Dalesford by Carrie Greenwood. This is a Franny Fisher mystery. If you haven't seen the Franny Fisher mystery series, you need to. It's so good. And I'm really hoping that the books are just as good. I know they're going to be really different, but I'm hoping that they will be just as good. And then we have Kith and Kin. That is a Critical Role backstory book about Vex and Vax, who are two of my favorite characters from the Vox Machina series. So these are our options. I'm going to go and get treats, and then it's going to be a race to try to get Sierra to stay while I put the treats, and then, yeah. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, treats are set. I think she's going to go for the middle one because that's the treat that's most visible. Sierra, you want to pick one? Pick one! I knew it! There's one right there. There's one right there. Okay. That's all the treats.
And the book she chose was Death in Dalesford by Carrie Greenwood. This is one of the Franny Fisher murder mysteries. I was introduced to Franny Fisher by the television show, and I'm really excited to read the actual book. Hopefully it's somewhat like the TV show. I know it's going to be really different, but even part of the synopsis is something that happens in one of the episodes. Not all of it, but some of it. So I'm very excited to finally read the book that inspired one of my favorite TV shows of all time. The next prompt is for astronomy. Again, I need an O in astronomy, and this is a word in the title from the name of the last song that you listened to. I found that I don't actually listen to a ton of music unless I'm curating a playlist for Fusion. I don't just like kind of casually listen to music very much right now. So what I did is earlier today, I went to Barnes & Noble because I had to pick up a couple books for this video. And I put on a random playlist, and whichever book I was listening to when I pulled into the parking lot was the book that I was going to do. And let me double check the title of the song. The title of the song was Time of the Season by Haley Reinhart. And obviously Time and Season both have quite a number of really good fantasy novels, but Time of the Season is a love song, so I thought I'd go with a romance. And also to break up some of the bigger fantasy that you will see basically in the rest of this TBR. So this is Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. This is a book about a PhD candidate who is obsessed with true crime podcasts, which, I mean, I personally know a lot of people who are obsessed with true crime podcasts, so very relatable person, I guess. And basically she is convinced that her new neighbor is a serial killer. But they end up falling in love. Okay, the next subject that my character will be studying is alchemy. I need an O in alchemy, which I just need the first prompt, and that is a first book in a series. And I am choosing a book that I'm very excited about, and that is The Will of the Many by James Islington, or Islington. I think it's Islington. This is the first book in a new series by him called The Hierarchy. And honestly, I know nothing about this book. I read his first trilogy, adored it. One of my favorite high fantasy, adult fantasy stories. So I just knew that I was going to love this book. and I didn't need to know anything about it. And then I need inscription. I need a Q in inscription, so that means that there are 2 prompts and 2 books that I have to fill. The first prompt, the prompt that's associated with O, is a book from your end of the year TBR. And for that, I chose Malice by John Gwynne, and I know it's really thick. And I know The Will of the Many is also really thick. So we'll see if I can accomplish this. I do have a backup plan if I don't feel like I can get through this book, because it's what, like over 600 pages. If I don't feel like I can get to this book, I will read the first book in the Royal Ranger series, which you saw in the clip of the pet pick. So that's kind of my backup, a little bit faster middle grade fantasy instead of an adult high fantasy. This is a multiple POV epic fantasy series that I have heard a lot of people talking about. It is the first book in the Faithful and the Fallen series, and I've been wanting to read it for a while. It sounds like kind of a cornerstone in the fantasy genre, and so I thought since I'm getting into more adult fantasy, that I would give it a read. All I know is that there's this big war that's going on, and there are giants. Something about a black sun needing to gain ascendancy, or else mankind is screwed, basically. And yeah, I'm excited. To earn the Q, I need a book with a shield on the cover. Sierra's about to jump up on the bed, so if the camera falls, well, that's why. So for this prompt, a shield on the cover, I chose Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. And as you can see, there is indeed a shield on the cover. This is a cozy fantasy series that lots of people talk about. I'm sure you don't need... See, there it is, there it is, there it is. Shake, shake. Okay, she's settled. There's a lot of information on YouTube, Bookstagram, all of the things about this book. But basically, there is a retired adventurer. I think she's an orc. Yeah, she's an orc, and she is hanging up her weapons in exchange for opening a coffee shop. And it just sounds delightful as a Dungeons and Dragons fan, as a fantasy fan, as a cozy reader fan. I am so very excited, and I believe he's coming out with a new one either at the end of this year or the beginning of next year called Bone Dust and Bookshops, which also sounds really good. And I am hoping to get the UK cover. I ordered this one before Book Depository sadly closed down. And then the last subject that my character needs a grade in is demonology. And this one I actually have to do with you guys right now. So the prompt for demonology is read the first book that you see on Instagram, Goodreads, etc. So I'm going to open up my phone. I'm going to start screen recording. Start. Okay. And we are going to go to Instagram and see what we find. I'm not going to read any classics that I see or any books that I obviously have already read. So we'll see. Also, Grace and Thorn's Savannah. Phenomenal florist. If you are in Savannah, Georgia, highly recommend her flowers. Seriously, she's a very talented florist. Puppies. Ooh, that's a cool tattoo. Or drawing. Lots of pottery. Lots of puppies. Dance, Hadestown. Okay, that's just Owl Crate. Oh, here we are. Okay. So that's more of a, like, I can't really tell what books are there. I mean, I can kind of guess, but they're just showing the sprayed edges, so let's keep going. If I don't find something else, we'll go back to that one. That is a D&D source book, so let's not count that. Dang. Aha! First book, The Song of Achilles. I haven't actually read this one. This is a beautiful rebinding of The Song of Achilles from the Binary Bookbinder. But it looks like for this prompt, I will be reading The Song of Achilles, which is actually really exciting. I taught ancient history last year, and I've taught it a couple times. The Song of Achilles, if you are not familiar, is a book, kind of a retelling of the story of Achilles and the Trojan War, and lots of people love it. I finally have the energy to read something like that because I'm no longer teaching ancient history, so it doesn't feel like schoolwork. I can just enjoy the beauty of the writing and the beauty of the story, and I am very excited. So those are all of the core classes that my character needs to complete in order to advance to the next level of her Feywild cartography degree, I guess, certification. But one of the really cool things that G is doing this time is she has a bunch of optional quests to earn certificates to add to your character. And actually all of them fit my character really well, wanting to be a Feywild cartographer. All of these work really well, but I decided to go with just 2 of them for now because this is already a big TBR, and we'll see what happens. The 2 certifications that I decided to go for are the Dragon Riding License, because if you're going to get around the Feywild, if you're going to get to the Feywild, why not do it riding a dragon? And the Apothecary Keeper, again, seems really important for a cartographer to know a lot about apothecary stuff. And plants and all of that, because if you're in the wild you might not have access to medicine that you need, and so understanding those things would be really important. So for the Dragon Riding License, I need to read 2 books that have dragons in them, and watch a dragon movie. And then for the Apothecary Keeper, I need to read 2 books that have plants on the cover and find and document 5 flowers and post online. That shouldn't be particularly hard. I do have 5 different flowers just in my front yard, but I also live in a place that has a ton of beautiful wildflowers everywhere, so I might have to have a little adventure to the mountains and see. So let's look at the 2 dragon books first. The books I chose, the first one is The Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill. This is a middle grade graphic novel. It's super short. I was smart. I did myself a favor. Technically, I could choose the second graphic novel as my second book, but why make it too easy on myself? And while I was at Barnes & Noble today, I saw this book. It is called To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Moniquel Blackgoose. This is actually a really interesting book that I feel like fits within the hype of what's going on right now. A lot of people are really loving The Fifth Wing, dragon writing, Dragon Academy, all of these things. I haven't read The Fifth Wing yet. I can't find it right now, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But this is a book in which our main character is the first one to find a dragon in a really long time. And this dragon decides to bond with her, and then she has to go to this academy. But here's the twist. She is part of an indigenous tribe that is currently their land is being colonized. And so she finds this dragon egg, but the colonizers don't approve of the way that she views the land, the way that she views raising a dragon. And so they require her to go to this school, and kind of raise it the right way. The author is an indigenous author, and so I'm really excited to see her take of Indigenous voices within a fantasy setting, and also a really important topic of colonization and what that does to Indigenous people and how that can really harm them and their culture. And I think it's just really important to hear those voices, especially in the United States, where, you know, there are tons of Indigenous women who go missing and are murdered every day. Same thing in Canada. These are voices that I think we really need to be hearing right now. I mean, we've always really needed to hear them, and America has failed miserably at that. But I thought if, you know, we can lift up some Indigenous voices in fantasy, that is awesome. So I'm really excited to read this perspective on a trope. I put it in quotations because it's a unique way of the trope, but of a trope that's really popular right now. And this book was actually published, let's see. Also, there's a pronunciation guide at the front, which I always love. Let's see. Oh no, it was published in 2023. So this is a new release. Why haven't I heard anything about this? Okay. Yeah. I'm so excited. And then for the prompts, the 2 books with plants on the cover, I chose Small Town, Big Magic by Hazel and Beck. This is a semi-contemporary witchy romance. It's like a fantasy romance, kind of, or a romance with fantasy. I've heard it compared to The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which is a book that I adored. I think this one has a bit of a darker tone to it, but still kind of like in the same vein. I think this will break up some of the gigantic chunky fantasies a little bit easier. But this book is about a character, Emerson Wilde, and she has basically been building up this beautiful life. She's the youngest chamber of commerce in her city. She is a successful indie bookstore owner, and she has a beautiful found family of best friends, and her life is perfect. And then monsters come, and she realizes that she's actually a witch who failed some kind of magic test, which led her memories of magic to be taken away. But now these magical creatures are attacking her, and she has to figure out how to re-access her magic and basically save the town. And all of her best friends are witches as well. But she also meets this guy. His name is Jacob North. So Jacob is her former childhood friend who I guess moved away. He's cranky yet gorgeous. I don't know. I'm excited. This is like a find who you are, but what I really like is that the main character doesn't start off the book sad or searching for herself. Like, she starts off the book with a life that she really loves. And I think the result is going to be the same in the end, but I like that, where it's like, okay, yeah, here's someone who has everything she wants, but there's something that's still missing. And when push comes to shove and trials come, she has to it really tests who she is. So I'm excited. And obviously, like, tons and tons of plants all over this cover. And then the last book for this certification is The Rangers of Marzana by John Scovron. As you can see, there is a tree there, and that tree is a plant. She's in the forest. This is what I would consider like post-apocalyptic fantasy, but instead of like the world ending just like the empire ends. So post-fall of an empire fantasy. And Sonia is the last ranger of Marzan, which is an ancient sect of warriors that have been set to protect the land for generations. And so her father's murdered by imperial soldiers, and the censor on a gigantic journey, basically to take down the invaders and restore the empire. There is warring siblings in this. Her brother is a sorcerer, but her brother is fighting for the empire instead of against the empire. So I'm really excited about that. That wraps up my TBR for the Orilium Autumn Equinox readathon of 2023. I hope you enjoyed. I will keep you up to date. I am house sitting next week, so I'm gonna bring you guys along for a little reading vlog. I'm gonna try and just like read as much as possible for that, which basically means I'm starting the readathon a couple days early. Actually a couple days earlier than the early start, and I will count any books that I finish in that time as counting towards my completion of the readathon, but anything that I finish or any pages that I read before the official start date, I will not put in the official spreadsheet of completed books and page totals, just to make sure that the numbers that G collects for the readathon are not skewed because I started early, but also to give myself the best chance of actually being able to finish this gigantic TBR, or gigantic for me. I know some people have like 15 books, 20 books that they're reading, and honestly, so much power to you. But I'm really glad there's a way for some of us slower readers to still participate and have fun in these things. So I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you for another video soon. Bye!